but not warmer like the antique surviving ones. So what is the problem? The problem is, especially if it's more with the modern ones, like with my grey ones, the thing to open the evacuation seating, the evacuation trapdoor for when one goes to defecate, is thrown in there, almost right in the middle. There, the old part of the unit store on the trouser is, if I get a defecate during the day, I don't want to have to take off everything to wash properly my growing area, my butt cheeks, my rectum, to be honest. At least the trousers and even the shirt, everything is protected from excrement thermos by the under trousers or the unit. But now it does not, because it gets a bit open, and on top of that it goes in, and I just don't like it. I have one unit salt, the other one, which is red, which was made by River Junction, which I purchased in 2006. It was an old stock type, as opposed to have been made back in 2005. No, sorry, I purchased it in 2010. Because we don't have them anymore, and this is really up to luck, because sometimes also the trapdoor is in the right position, but through where, as it's all knitted, it goes to the middle side. And also living in Dubai, and I have these antique 1930s, but that are practically just perfect reproduction under trousers, and actually they're from the 1930s anyhow. I prefer keeping the under trousers away. It is not a tight waistband gaiters, all ones. They do not have an elasticated waistband, they only have ties. You may loosen the ties during the desire, and it is best to sew brace buttons and wear it with a separate pair of blazers. And the other problem really is more the undershirt, but I told you so. Now, for winter in a normal climate country like France or Britain, whatever, or in Northeast United States of America, you will likely not find original undershirts, but close to, things from the 20s, 30s. Usually the surviving ones are very warm, because warm ones, they're thicker, they survive more, and have a lot of wool cotton mixed, pure wool. And you find them on eBay. Just type antique undershirt. Type antique, not vintage, antique undershirt, or antique Henley, right? And if you do not find it on eBay, try Etsy. But more likely, just go back to eBay. They're less expensive. You have more options and they're usually better conditions on eBay. So just keep going, and wait a month if you don't find any on the British or French eBays. Especially British and US eBays, just try a month after, and if you still, you should find it after a while. And you always have stocks of vintage 1940s, more 50s, 60s, 80s, the Soviet ones. And if you find the Soviet ones are not good for whatever reason, usually the size, the warm Soviet ones, or they're not warm enough perhaps, because they have to, as I explained in the Soviet playlist, then find the American Army ones that are not as accurate, but are still very close to. And the vintage US or Marines or US Army undershirts, there are 50% the winter issues that are handy with 3-button placket long sleeves, 50% cotton, 50% wool. And they usually date from the 70s, 80s, and sometimes 60s. Usually the date is inside, right? So, now the socks. The socks, you shall not find original socks at all, or anything close. You may find 20s and 30s for the socks, usually from the US. They're quite expensive, especially that socks do not live long. All my socks get patched, and you see here and here. And usually the surviving socks are made out of nylon, which is completely inaccurate because it was highly fashionable in the 30s and 40s. So you are better off in terms of accuracy, hygiene, because nylon does not let your feet breathe. Purchasing 100% cotton or close to 100% cotton socks. And I'm lucky to have brands for less everywhere in Dubai. And to have all these, these are Brooks Brothers socks. On eBay, these same socks, same brand, same issue there. Second hand, they cost 42 pairs. I got it here for 10 dirhams, which is about $2. New, brand new. Imagine, from brands for less. I don't know if they have that in the US or UK, brands for less, but it's absolutely superb for socks. And these are, I think, 85% cotton and 50% elastic. Does it show different? Barely, and your socks will barely show. Just hold on. Why? Because just hold on until I get to the footwear part of the shoes. But, so I covered the socks. We can find the diabetic people's socks. Usually they maybe 100% cotton, are quite thick, quite very cheap. And more like the socks they had in the 1890s, because only very few people had very thin socks then. Usually to a minimum thick, like thick dress socks. Right? And you, alright, so the sock suspenders or the shirt stays. So I usually wear sock suspenders, and if I really want my shirt pulled in, I wear those things I showed in the 1890s striptease video. These cannot be original, I'm not even sure they existed back then. With that shirt when it was started, I stopped wearing it because already being so stiff and quite snug, fitting throughout. Plus, number one, it was snug. Number two, that I always wore an undershirt, when this was an actual shirt, below, so the friction stopped us from riding up. Number three, even if it did ride up throughout the course of the day, especially that I would fold, you know, this part like so, so it will not touch the groin area. My under trousers, because I was wearing the long under trousers, riding up to here, so there was nowhere they were going to be pulled out of. So I stopped wearing it because it got so damaged from the pulling friction, it being so stiff, and the pulling friction of those shirt braces. Now, in summer, like with that shirt, because I have to wear these under trousers anyhow, I wear these, I think it is best rather than purchasing, you know, actual shirt stays. If you want something of a different color, just take children's braces. These are all children's braces, belong to my siblings. I'll be able to show them in the first videos I made. And you see, I clip it on to the shirt and then to the socks. I did not do it right now because well, never mind. So, because right now I'm just in my undergarments, completely undergarments. So, and during winter with the under trousers, I wear the sock braces. You find vintage ones even up to the 1920s or at least 30s, especially from the US, but also from the UK. I have it relatively easy now to find. So get this. Also, if I'm not the same in the 1890s, but there's a beauty to using something which is so old still as the 30s and all, and which is completely functional and which you use generally, not just wear it on your day out from the weekend or whatever. You actually wear it as they would have worn it back. There is a beauty to it rather than recreating things constantly, I find. So, like with my armbands, you will not find originals, but you will find things usually in metal with a bit of, either looking around eBay or Etsy. Usually eBay, I found these on eBay. These are from, he said the 50s. I think they may be much older, like the 30s or 40s. These were made in Japan, but they're not a pair, but they're both made in Japan. They were quite new. Now I use them a lot, so especially that one got damaged. These armbands. If you hate armbands, you may, you know, oh never mind, about that just before. For the neckcloth, there's a complication. So if you want to wear a long neckcloth, you want a neckcloth pin, what people call a tie pin. These are very easy to find, antique, originals and all. Cheap ones of cheap metal will be cheap. You can find them very cheap. You should buy the cheap ones then. It's cheap prices. If you want something in precious metals, it would cover the price, at least $100 and above dollars. The problem is more the neckcloth itself. Because I like my neckcloths, I quite through the years, I just wear those, like that yellow bow tie, but also it is not accurate. Now, surviving original barely exist, even on eBay, and when they do, they're barely wearable. They may work a month, you know, with someone like me that will wear the same thing every day, especially in a warm country like say, the perspiration would still go for new, but it would probably just fall into pieces after a month. Now, with the waistcoat and the coat, you know, and especially simply the waistcoat, the difference being, you may tell me there's barely a difference with a modern neckcloth, at least you know, a tie. But the difference is really in the consistency. There's not really, it's hard to see in black and white photographs, but they're